Let's look at Iceland from a less touristy angle. How the country deals with affection, desire, and meeting up. Between Greenland and Norway, on an island of fire and ice, a straightforward culture took shape. Nudity doesn't cause a scandal, and casual sex isn't treated like a secret. It's a topic for frank conversation, without moral weight. Men and women talk openly about their experiences, and that connects to women taking the lead. Many Icelandic women run the household, lead projects, and hold prominent positions, making decisions with autonomy. Nature sets the pace. Nightlife is simple. People meet, talk, and test their connection. The courtship dance is shorter. In many cases, there isn't a long list of dates before intimacy. If there's attraction, the signals are clear, and the next step happens without ceremony. Frankness speeds up choices and avoids guessing games. Who wants something casual? Who's looking for something solid? Everything is said straight up. Skogafoss helps explain that spirit. There are legends about Viking treasure hidden behind the curtain of water, but the everyday treasure is in the dialogue. In Iceland, stating what you want doesn't push people away, it brings them closer. Sex has a recognized place in building a bond, and can come early when the chemistry shows up. What keeps this dynamic going is explicit agreement between the people involved, with the same clarity that marks daily life in the country. In Iceland, the way people live dating and sexuality breaks from the pattern many folks know. The roots go way back. In Viking communities, intimate life was treated with more openness than in much of Europe. Women had an active voice. They chose partners, could test compatibility before marriage, and if the man didn't measure up, they refused the union. Many married around age 15, sometimes to older men, but the final decision was still theirs. After marriage, they kept important rights like filing for divorce and inheriting land. Relationships outside marriage were once tolerated and later became a crime. The Icelandic sagas of the 10th and 11th centuries record that everyday life naturally. Then in the 18th century, after the 1707 smallpox outbreak decimated the population, the Danish crown pushed repopulation policies, demanding that women, married or not, have many children, a tense chapter in this story. Today, the dating scene reflects that legacy of autonomy. Meeting people in bars, parties, or apps is common, and flirting blends into social life without big ceremonies. Gender equality shows up in school, politics, and work, with women holding leadership roles and equal rights. And there's a simple consensus. Desire isn't tied to one gender. It's part of the human experience, an understanding that helps explain why the island is so far ahead in this conversation. In Iceland, talking about your own desires is part of daily life. Women take clear positions, negotiate consent, and treat sexuality as an open topic, without the weight of idealization. Romantic love isn't put on a pedestal. Honesty matters more than ritual. This direct way contrasts with the country's natural setting. Winters are usually relatively mild, rarely below 10 degrees Celsius, but they bring winds that wreck plans and snowstorms that become routine. The island showed its force in 1783, when Loki erupted and released gases into the atmosphere to the point of affecting the climate on other continents, leaving Europe with unusual cold. Cut to the South Atlantic. In Argentina, day-to-day life hits people's wallets. Unemployment and devaluation eat away at expectations. The government struggles to respond, and frustration grows in the streets. With instability, reports of crime go up, and even Buenos Aires feels less welcoming. Tourists rethink their itineraries. People who dream of emigrating hesitate, and many Argentines with good chances are already packing their bags. In soccer, the pressure valve is open. Young people aim for contracts abroad, following the path of idols like Messi and Maradona. The economic base is still concentrated in the countryside. Soy, beef, and wheat prop up exports, while tech and global brands are rare. The result? More imports of advanced products, less industry able to compete on the global playing field. Between Iceland's icy frankness and Argentina's tensions, two ways of dealing with expectations show up. On one side, the normalization of desire. On the other, the escape to wherever the horizon still seems possible. In 1980, Iceland turned a page. Vigdis Finnbogadóttir won a democratic election and took office as president, a role she kept until 1996. More than a gender milestone, her leadership cemented a vision of a country that values its own voice. Vigdis used the prestige of the office to strengthen the Icelandic language, support theaters, schools, and cultural projects, and raise the nation's profile beyond the Atlantic without losing sight of its roots. Her legacy isn't just in speeches, but in how the country learned to present itself to the world. Small in population, big in self-awareness. That identity also includes topics that often spark curiosity. Iceland is often cited for liberal attitudes towards sex and nudity, something that, from the outside, can turn into an easy label. On the inside, though, many reject the idea that the country can be summed up by that slice. The invitation for visitors is different. First, let yourself be moved by the landscapes, the silence of lava fields, the steam from hot springs, the fjords, and Reykjavik pulsing with art and history. Then, with the place's rhythm in your body, talk about intimacy and relationships with fewer cliches and more context. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you like the conversation, drop a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel keep going strong. Turn on the bell so you don't miss the next chapter, where we dive deeper into how public policies shape everyday life in Iceland, and what we can learn from that in other places. I want to hear from you. What surprised you most today? Comment down below and send this video to someone who'll enjoy the topic. Oh, if you just got here, there's a full playlist waiting for you. Start with the previous video to follow the thread of the story. See you in the next one. See you soon.